There are feelings we can bury but never destroy. Claire tried to silence her heart, to push away the fire burning inside her. Yet the more she resisted, the louder it screamed. Because when love refuses to die, it becomes a force that shapes every choice, every silence, every secret glance. Section 1. The weight of silence. Claire stands at the edge of two worlds, one built on duty, the other on desire. She tells herself to stay still, to be strong, to choose the safer path. But inside her there's a storm she cannot control. Every heartbeat feels like a whisper calling her back to what she has tried so hard to forget. Her silence is heavy, almost unbearable. When she walks through the halls of her home, the walls themselves seem to echo with the memories she carries. Memories she dares not speak of, but ones that haunt her all the same. A flicker of a candle in the night reminds her of warm eyes watching her with devotion. The brush of the wind feels like the ghost of a touch she still craves. She tells herself it's all in her head, that time has passed, that she has chosen her path. Yet the more she tells herself this, the less she believes it. Claire knows what it means to hold back. She knows the cost of loyalty, the price of honor, but love is not something that bends to rules or reason. It slips through every barrier, every excuse. And though she fights it, she feels it stronger with each passing day. To the world, she appears composed, calm, even untouchable. But inside she is breaking. Every smile she forces feels like a mask. Every word of duty she speaks feels like a lie. She tells herself she can hold this together. But deep down she knows, her silence will not last forever, because there are battles fought with swords and shields, and then there are battles fought within the heart. And Claire is losing hers. Claire tries to drown it out, the voice of her own heart. She fills her days with routine, with tasks that keep her hands busy and her mind occupied. She listens to the ticking of clocks, the rustle of pages, the chatter of voices around her. But beneath it all, there is always one sound she cannot silence, the echo of his voice. It comes to her in the quiet moments, slipping between thoughts like a song she cannot forget. She hears it in the wind that bends the trees, in the low crackle of fire, in the hush of midnight air. The world itself seems to conspire against her, carrying reminders of the love she thought she could lock away. She tells herself it's only memory, only imagination. Yet it feels alive, too alive to ignore. And when she closes her eyes, the visions return. A hand reaching out, a promise unspoken, a future that never was yet still lives inside her as if it were real. The images burn brighter each time she denies them, as if love itself is demanding to be remembered. Her chest tightens, not from fear but from longing, a longing that makes her question everything she thought she knew about herself. Claire begins to wonder, what if love is not something chosen, but something fated? What if no matter how far she runs, it will always find her, pulling her back like the tide draws the shore? The thought terrifies her because it means she is powerless. Powerless against the pull of the past, powerless against the truth she has tried to bury, and still, beneath the terror there is a spark of relief. Because for all the weight of silence, for all the pain of denial, the heart longs to be free. Claire does not speak it aloud, but inside she knows. Her feelings are not fading. They are waiting, growing. And no matter how hard she fights them, they will return. Because some voices are not meant to be silenced. They are meant to be heard. There comes a moment when silence shatters. For Claire, it is not a grand explosion, but a quiet surrender. A single breath held too long. A single truth left unspoken until it grows too heavy to bear. She no longer asks herself if she should resist, because the answer has already been written into her every thought, her every heartbeat. The fight has been long, but the outcome was always certain. Love has waited, patient and relentless, weaving itself into every shadow of her life. And now it stands before her undeniable. She realizes that what she called strength was only fear. Fear of breaking promises, fear of the world's judgment, fear of losing control. But love does not ask for permission. It does not wait for the perfect moment. It simply is. Her heart no longer hides. It pounds with a rhythm that belongs not to caution but to desire. She feels it in her chest, a drum calling her forward, louder than reason, louder than doubt. She reaches for it, not with hands but with the truth she can no longer deny. And in that instant the battle ends, not with defeat but with surrender. The world around her shifts. The weight she has carried for so long lifts, and in its place there is clarity. Love was never her enemy. It was her compass. It was the fire that refused to die. the light that guided her through silence and storm. She sees now that fighting it was never strength. It was the slow undoing of her soul. Claire cannot fight her feelings. She never could. And in her surrender there is both pain and freedom. Pain for what has been lost, but freedom in the truth that can no longer be hidden. For some hearts are not meant to be silenced. They are meant to be heard, even if the world is not ready to listen. And so she chooses, not with words, not with promises, but with the quiet acceptance of her own truth. That love once awakened can never be forgotten, and though the road ahead may break her, it will also keep her alive. Because to deny love is to deny life itself. When the storm finally quiets, there is only stillness. Claire stands within it, not victorious, not defeated, simply changed. The war inside her has ended, but its echoes remain. Love has left its mark not as a wound, but as a scar written across her soul. A scar she does not hide because it is proof that she has lived. Proof that she has felt something greater than herself. In this silence, she sees clearly what she could not before. That love does not promise ease. It does not guarantee safety. It does not erase the pain of choices or the weight of consequences. But it gives meaning. It gives her a reason to endure, to keep moving forward even when the road bends into darkness. Without it, the world is just survival. With it, every breath becomes a reason. She knows the path ahead will not be simple. It may demand sacrifice. It may demand that she carry more pain than she has ever known. But there is no fear left in her heart. Because to feel so deeply, even when it breaks her, is the truest form of life. And so she walks forward, not away from her feelings, but with them. They are no longer her burden. They are her strength. The shadows do not frighten her now, because the light she carries inside will not fade. It burns, steady and unyielding, guiding her every step. In the end, Claire learns the truth that all hearts must face. Love is not something we fight. It is something we live with, something we live for. It may change us, it may hurt us, it may lead us to places we never imagined, but it is never wrong. And so, even in silence, even in solitude, she whispers the truth she has finally accepted. She cannot fight her feelings.
She never will.
And perhaps she was never meant to. Love does not belong to Claire alone. It is the story of every soul that has ever fought to resist what the heart already chose. Her struggle is not just hers, it is ours. We have all tried in some way to bury a feeling, to silence a truth, to walk away from the fire that scares us most. But love is not tamed by fear. It lingers, it waits. It carves itself into the deepest part of who we are. We live in a world that teaches us control, to be careful, to be measured, to choose with reason instead of passion. But reason builds walls and passion tears them down. Claire's battle reminds us that what we run from is often what defines us, that the very feelings we fear will break us are the ones that make us whole. There is no shame in surrendering to love. There is no weakness in admitting that some bonds cannot be cut, no matter how sharp the blade. For what ties two souls together cannot be undone by distance, time, or even choice. It is a thread stronger than iron, woven through fate itself. Claire's journey is proof that love is both fragile and unbreakable. It shatters expectations, yet it survives every storm. It demands sacrifice, yet it gives meaning to every sacrifice made. And while her story may seem extraordinary, it is not so different from our own, because each of us carries a memory, a voice, a longing we cannot erase. The truth is simple yet profound. We do not choose love. Love chooses us, and once it does, it never lets go. So when Claire cannot fight her feelings, it is not weakness, it is destiny. And perhaps in her surrender, she shows us the most human truth of all, that to love, even against all reason, is the closest we come to touching eternity. And so the story returns to silence. Not the silence of denial, but the silence of truth finally spoken within the heart. Claire's journey was never about winning or losing, never about right or wrong. It was about surrendering to what was always there. A love that waited, a love that endured, a love that refused to be erased. In the end, she does not fight anymore. She simply breathes. She simply feels. And in that simple act, she is free. Because the chains she carried were never placed upon her by others. They were forged by her own fear. And when she let go, the fear dissolved, leaving only what was real. Love. It is love that remains when all else falls away. It is love that lights the path through darkness. It is love that binds us to our truest selves. Claire's story is a reminder that no matter how fiercely we resist, the heart always knows. And when the moment comes, it will lead us, not with force, but with inevitability. The final truth is this: Claire cannot fight her feelings, because they were never meant to be fought. They were meant to be lived. And in choosing to live them, she chooses to be whole. The screen fades to black. Her story ends here, but its echo lingers, a whisper to every heart that dares to love.